But the reality is that across 12 teams within Contenders here, you're going to find there's a greater difference in skill level than you'd see in Overwatch League between the teams competing there.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, there's some teams that have been formulated really only for Contenders and did sort of come through that open division in the trials and weren't around for much longer than that. And then there was other teams that have been around basically since the inception of Overwatch in some various forms or another. But for Masterminds, they're definitely sitting towards the latter end of things. They have been a roster for quite a long time, and they've been up towards the top of competition in the AU region for quite a long time as well. It goes to show the results that they've been able to get throughout this have been quite good. Taki is going to be starting off. Yuki also in there on the Tracer. So we don't have Color Hex just yet here for Masterminds, but they do seem to be wrapping up this first fight quite nicely to start things off.
Yeah, only Dowse is going to go down here for Masterminds. As I say, that Joy Boy is found out as well. Looks like Masterminds are going to push through on this capture with 3 players on the point. Do so with relative ease. Kanga getting a few picks there, so that was nice to see.
Yeah, it was. And Yuki is going to be able to get another kill onto his counterpart Locust, which is going to, well, apparently not delay Kanga Esports. They're going to decide to dive in here without their Tracer, which I'm not so sure about. Taki does end up getting the first kill there on Pixie, and he has got the High Noon available.
Yeah, Merritt's going to go down. Roro getting picked up as well. And now Davey, you'll see, falls in the Baby Diva form.
Yeah.
It's Masterminds easily control this point for another 25%.
I'm not so sure why Kanga Esports decided to sort of contest that at that point. Given they lost Locust so quickly, they did have time to just say, hey, let's not go in. But it seems like they just decided, you know what, let's give it a crack and see what happens. And clearly it did not work out too well. Deadeye was up and... Taki also got a pretty quick early pick off there. So for Kanga Esports, they just need to make sure that they've got all their members available for this next fight. Roro does have the EMP. That might be enough to get them in, and almost a good hack. Yeah,
going for the hack on the Tracer, not going to be successful though. EMP still ready. There it is. Popped right now. You can hear a trance coming out in the background as well. Joy Boy's already gone down. Kiki's almost dead. Yuki goes down. Kiki has been demeched as well. So Kanga on the back of that EMP, Jordan, will be able to clean out Masterminds here, grab the point. You're going to stop it at about 70%.
Yeah, it can be quite difficult to contest when everyone has been hit by the EMP. Cantus did obviously get the Transcendence across, but it wasn't enough to keep the rest of the Masterminds players alive, and that's okay. They haven't really put too much into that fight. You know, we've still got the Valkyrie here for Dalsu. Kiki's going to be able to contest the self-destruct. We've got Deadeye coming up shortly. Yuki is going to be always dangerous with the Pulse Bomb available as well. So really it's going to rely on Locust here getting something done. And he does get the Pulse Bomb there into Joy Boy. In fact, Yuki's the one to go down. Joy Boy just survives courtesy of those heals coming out from Dalsu. In the end, though, it's going to cost Masterminds a little bit of time, but not too much. It also allows them to build up all their ultimates available for this next fight.
Yeah, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ultis ready to go. Just Cantus, who used that Transcendence, as you said a little bit earlier. Now it's really going to be how many ultis do Masterminds want to use here on attack, as we see them fighting up on the high ground, not even fighting on the point for now. Yuki throws out the Pulse Bomb, but I think it gets caught out there, so that's less than ideal. Nice work from the Diva with the Defense Matrix. Back onto the point right now, trying to take it back 2/3 of the way there. You can see Taki trying to push through. And a couple of players now being picked up by Masterminds. We'll see Kanga lose the point.
Taki's been a real monster there on the McCree. Every single time we see him pop out a Deadeye, it's going to get at least a kill, which is basically as good as you really are going to be hoping for from a Deadeye these days. It's more or less going to be zoning most of the time, but to be able to get a kill out of it, that's great work from Taki, and just seems like Kanga don't have the ability to deal with it. Pisa and Davey not being able to jump on top of him in time, and now again, sound barrier out from Kanga Esports, and trying to contest that point one more time.
Yeah, a sound barrier and, of course, the Moira coming through there as well. So you would like to think that should be enough to get them through here. They will jump back onto the point. No one contesting for now. Kanga returns it back into their favor, 97% here. But Mastermind's very quickly going to want to try and fight this one back. Look at that. Already Davey and Roro going down. This isn't looking so good for Kanga here. 70% is nice, Jordan, but it's not enough. Masterminds starting to get the point back.
Yeah, just really, really good positioning out here from Masterminds. Right now, Kanga Esports, they're not putting enough pressure on the DPSs of Masterminds. Taki's just running around for free, essentially killing everything. Yuki doing the same, of course. And it is going to be the trickle in for Kanga Esports.
Nice.
That's actually a double kill out from Davey. That might be enough to get them a contest here.
EMP into self-destruct means it's very difficult to stop. But Mastermind still looking strong. They found a couple. Taki's been resurrected as well, and now the support's going down here for Kanga. Locust getting very close to a Pulse Bomb, but it's not going to be enough. Self-destruct coming out from Kiki, clears out the site, gets back into the mech, continues to push. Coalesce is now coming out from Kanga, trying to keep it going, but it's not going to be enough. Village goes across. When I say village, it's actually Shrine. Yeah, we'll get there. There's lots of houses in all of them.
It was fairly close as far as the percentages go, but Masterminds, they always were in control of that one. It just felt like their tanks were exerting a little bit more pressure than those of Kanga. Obviously, we saw Joyboy and Kiki really getting in the faces of Locust and Roro, and that made dealing some damage a little bit more difficult for the Kanga DPS. Masterminds, their own DPS were essentially free to do what they wanted, and that does put Kanga at a deficit here, 1-0, heading into our second round. Roro is going to be going on to the Pharah by the looks of things, which is something that we have seen him do every now and then, and it's not a bad choice, except when you kind of look at it for Mastermind, they've got the Soldier there, so quite easily able to shut down Roro, particularly if he doesn't have that Pocket Mercy, but Ziggy has swapped off, so he'll be okay in that respect.
Yeah, I'll be very interested to see just what kind of damage Roro can get out. Already up to 23%, 30 now on the ultimate, waiting to use that barrage, trying to push through. Masterminds looking like they're going to get control of the area, waiting for that control point to unlock, already pushing Kanga back in. Locust is down, Roro is down, but to be fair, so are Joyboy and Canters. Roro now resurrected. Maybe Kanga can do something on this point, but that certainly won't help. Oh, Kiki, see you later. Kanga's sitting on the point now. Jordan, they're going to get the first cap.
Yeah, Masterminds, they get the D-Mech there onto Davey, and they decide that's now a time to commit into that fight, but they just got a little bit too deep. Merit does get the pick off onto Joyboy, and it allows the waterfall to come into effect for Kanga Esports. Then Taki kind of gets a little bit isolated in that fight by Pisa on the Winston, and when you're a Soldier versus Winston, sometimes not too easy for you to deal with. So he went down pretty quickly as well. Kanga Esports, just some nice target selection there, and a little bit of mispositioning out from Masterminds. Now Merit going to commit to this fight with a Transcendence.
Yeah, not a bad idea. They're going to try and push them all the way through, not fighting on the point here, keeping Masterminds all the way back. You can hear the tack visor now coming out from Taki. Pushes through, finds one, finds two, and Candace is taking out Pizza as well. Ziggy looking low. So Mastermind should be able to grab the point. Roro pulls out the barrage,
Hail Mary.
Shut down.
Yeah, very, very good tactical visor out there from Taki. It's, you know, you wouldn't necessarily look at it and go, that was a great tactical visor. He was just in the middle of a massive clump. A lot of the times you want to see the Soldier sit back, use the tactical visor from a range, but he knew that he had the backup there of all of his tank players right in front of him. Kiki was walking forward with the defense matrix up. It was going to be very, very difficult to shut down Taki there, and he was just in essentially a sentry turret that was able to run on forwards. And Kanga Esports, they didn't have anything to deal with it. Now they've decided to swap off. Roro has gone onto the Genji. A little bit of a change up for them. Ziggy's still on the Mercy.
Yuki pushes through, throws out. The Pulse Bomb doesn't find anyone. Resurrection from Ziggy. Going to get caught out though? Yes, he will. That's less than ideal. Kiki finds two though. Both Locust and Merrick going down to that self-destruct. You'd like to think that that will now secure this fight in Mastermind's favour, were it not already in that way.
I think it already was, to be honest. Ben, Masterminds have definitely come back into this one, and Kanga Esports now having a little bit more difficulty once they do have to start pushing in there as opposed to holding off on their own. A lot of that is probably due to the fact that their ult economy isn't necessarily where it needs to be right now. Obviously, Roro's swapping off. He's got to charge that ultimate up again on Genji before we're going to see a real big power play out here from Kanga Esports. But Pizza, if he can get something done with the Primal Rage here, maybe knock a couple of guys off, that could be the opening for Kanga Esports.
Transcendence coming out once again from Cantus, trying to hold this fight. You can see though, Jordan, even though it looked like Kanga's getting on the point, they haven't been able to do that much. This time they're going to give it another burl. Oh, Locust.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, I'm not even sure, mate. I'm not even sure.
Unless he was just deciding to give that one up, but I feel like at that point it was still winnable for Kanga.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, it is what it is, but the control point now ticks ever further in Mastermind's favour, Jordan. It's not looking that good. You can see Taki holding back with the tack visor. Joyboy there ready to go with the Primal Rage as well. It's going to be a big ask now for Kanga to get onto this point.
Yeah, definitely. And look how far back Taki is playing. He's going to be a real menace to deal with this tactical visor. Roro trying to reflect all those shots. Davey jumping right in there, but immediately focused down by Mastermind's tanks. And it's just so much freedom right now for Taki. He's under no pressure. Roro dives in, but cannot get anything done. There's too many Masterminds players there. And inevitably, Masterminds are going to close this one out 2-0 here on Nepal. Very, very solid performance from them.
They will indeed. Kanga, though, it does feel like they're putting up a fight, Jordan. It's not as necessarily one-sided as we thought it could be. which is nice to see. I guess to reiterate, right, at the start of the season, Kanga went up against Blank and took Hanamura off them. I know we keep talking about that, but if they can do it to Blank, maybe they can do it to Masterminds.
Maybe. They're going to have to
Nice.
hope so, because if not, it could be their last time playing in Overwatch Contenders. Obviously, when we do get to Hanamura, if it's 2-0, then, well, assuming we get on Hanamura, not Horizon. Regardless, it's a tough uphill battle here, I think, for Kanga now. Obviously, losing that one on Control, that was probably the expected result. They have struggled on Control, which is fair enough. Now we're moving on to one of their more favorable map types. In either Hollywood or Numbani, they have a bit more success there. So I feel like they're going to have a bit more of a chance here. They're going to be a little bit more comfortable now in the second map. The first one was always expected to go to Masterminds.
It was, but it's not all bad news, John. It's not all bad news. Kanga's still with a few more shots to go here, trying to lock themselves a spot, find themselves a spot here, going through to our top 4, going through to finals. We're in playoffs right now. It's a big ask. It's do or die, and it's hard because it's obviously seeded, right? So they've come in, they made it into seed number 4 in their group, and they're going up against seed number 1 from the opposing group, a team that was undefeated all season long.
Yeah, exactly.
A team that destroyed Drop Bears, might I add.
Yeah, that was actually something that I was going to bring up maybe a little bit later on. If we got to, for example, Hanamura Horizon, without Masterminds having dropped a map here, they could potentially close out the Contenders season without having lost a single map. Now, they did get a draw in one map, but even still, it's been a very, very solid performance from Masterminds throughout the entire season. So I think that's what they're gunning for right now. You'd be hoping to get that completely undefeated run.
Yeah. Well, looks like, according to your sheet, Jordan, Kanga haven't played Hollywood all season long.
No,
so let's
going
go and see if it's Numbani or not.
Oh, well.
There you go.
There you go.
Continue the flow. I'll just change it on here. I'll say he's played 6 times
Played
now.
6. Could be played 6, won 6, lost 1, 3, lost 3.
That
or
would definitely be better than
1,
losing.
2, 1, 2, lost 4.
Yeah.
So right now they're 2 and 3 on Numbani for wins and losses, 40% win rate. It's not too bad when you consider that Kanga Esports have definitely struggled in the majority of their matchups and have, generally speaking, been playing against teams that on paper would be considered better than them. So 40% isn't that bad, but for Kanga, this one is definitely a tough ask. Looking on the side of Masterminds, they haven't been playing too much Numbani either. So we'll see how they go on this one. Do suspect that they will be quite ready for Kanga Esports here, though. Taki has got himself that Soldier. Was very successful on the Soldier there on Nepal. And I'm not at all disappointed to see him playing it again.
Yeah, let's see how this pushes through. Roro on the Sombra. Always like to see a Sombra. Almost every map. Let's see how it plays out here. On attack, pushing onto the point. Getting around behind. Want to get a hack off. We'll see if they can find one. And straight away, Taki and Candace go down on defense, Jordan.
That was a great, very, very well coordinated dive out from Kanga Esports as well. And Masterminds just caught off guard by the pace of Kanga in that one. 2 players go down so quickly. And as soon as those players drop, there's just absolutely nothing you can do as Masterminds when you're playing in a 4 versus 6. While they do manage to get a couple of picks back, it's well and truly in the control of Kanga. And that was an excellent dive. That's exactly how that composition is supposed to work.
Yeah, going to try and get onto the point here, all behind Taki. Pizza's taken a ton of damage already, stays alive. You can see Masterminds respawning in as well. Pulse Bomb goes through, doesn't find anyone. Candace is dropped. Still plays here, so very close. But now it's Yuki on the point. No one from Kanga. They're going to have to get rid of Yuki, get rid of Joy Boy here.
They just need to get rid of Joy Boy first, then focus on Yuki. Good focus fire here from Kanga Esports. You can see those players being dropped individually as opposed to everyone taking damage at once. A really, really good first point take there from Kanga Esports. And while there was a recontest for Masterminds, they just lost too much positioning and lost too much momentum. And Kanga Esports was able to wipe the floor with them. Now things reset a little bit, though, as Masterminds, they get their moment to sit back and wait for Kanga Esports a little bit. They're ready for them now, but Roro does have an EMP available.
Certainly does, and if Roro can throw out this EMP, perhaps put the fight in their favor, they might be able to get a bit of distance here, Jordan, which will then put them in a great point to use the rest of their ultimates that are coming through now. You see Taki trying to use that tack visor, not really finding anyone. Davey going to be reset. The Pulse Bomb onto Dalsu. Not great timing. MP and Merit there with the Coalescence pushing through, but they haven't got all that far. They've got the kills. Let's see how far now they can get this payload.
They should be able to get it quite significantly forward, as Masterminds now only have been routed, and it's going to take a little while for them to respawn. And not just respawn, but they also have to run all the way back here to that second point. Yuki now only just comes up, so he's going to still be another 5-10 seconds before he does actually get in a position to take the fight. However, they guys on Kanga did put a lot of ultimates into that last fight, and Masterminds did not. So there's still potential here for Masterminds to hold this one on the second point, and they're definitely going to be going for a recontest. Yeah,
going to try and contest right here. Self-destruct comes through. You can see a trans coming in from Contenders as well. Fighting now on the payload. Don't want to get knocked off here. Want to keep it going. Sound barrier as well from Davey. Taki and Dowsu both down. Kanga looking good in terms of numbers. Kanga looking good in general. Self-destruct going off on the point. Everyone gets off. Merit goes down, however. Looks to me maybe Kanga can push through. We'll see how quickly these Masterminds players respawn back on.
Kanga have definitely got the numbers on the board, and that's a great pulse bomb coming out from Locust as well. He's going to be able to get rid of Joy Boy and Kiki. Dalsu does get a sound barrier down, which will buy more time here for Masterminds. And as far as I'm concerned, Ben, that should have been a fight won by Kanga Esports.
Yep.
Masterminds were very, very split up in that one, and Kanga did get some key picks, but they just weren't able to close it out in the end. Yuki doing way too much work on that Tracer, and that's the individual prowess from Masterminds that you're going to come to expect from a roster like that.
Well, we also talked about how maybe Masterminds had that advantage in terms of ultimates, and right now they still do have Yuki there with the Pulse Bomb, but that's really not that much to talk about. Roro now with the MP coming through, ready to go as well.
Yuki's actually got that Pulse Bomb up in the last fight as well, so he's been able to charge that one up really, really quickly. The rest of them still getting there. Cantus did use the Transcendence at the start of the last fight. He's up to 72% as well, so Masterminds can buy a little bit more time. This is going to be now a tough point to push for Kanga Esports, and you can see the Kanga are kind of going in one by one a little bit here. Masterminds starting to pick them off. This is looking a little bit worse now for Kanga. They need to just reset and make sure that they're going to be pushing it as a team like what we saw on that first point.
Well, I said maybe that Pulse Bomb won't do too much, but it actually took down Merit, Jordan. So have to wait for Merit to come back through. That Coalescence almost ready. Roro has not used the EMP so far, and you can see that Masterminds are really spread out right now. So this EMP is not going to have an impact unless it's saved all the way through and everyone sort of jumps on top of each other. That big death ball, that's the EMP you want, but they may not get that. The payload starting now, unfortunately, to move backwards here for Kanga.
Oh, here's the EMP you were talking about, Ben. Roro does get a pretty good one off, and that's the go signal for Kanga Esports. Looks like they're going to be winning this fight as they found the first couple of picks. Taki fairly uncontested with the tactical visor out here, and he's going to get some effectiveness out of it, but just not quite enough. There was too many players already lost for Masterminds. Once you've got a Diva on top of you as a soldier, inevitably you will be going down. Kanga Esports, they do secure this second point, again off the back of a nice EMP. It's great work from Roro, but Masterminds, they don't have to hold on for too long. 3 minutes is not a massive amount of time to work with for Kanga Esports pushing into the final point.
Yeah, great work from Davey. Certainly doing his best there to try and keep the soldier at bay as they dive into this final point. Jordan Pizza pushing through. You can see, oh man, ulti versus ulti, there's not much you can do against that Zenyatta sometimes when they do pop the trance. But now we'll continue through. We'll continue to try and push this. Kanga on the point. You can see coming out the other way, another defensive Primal Rage. Candace will get caught out here. One would think. See you later. Roro from behind. Building up the EMP once again, looking very, very healthy already at 70%.
Yeah, I just want to talk about Pisa there with the Primal Rage. Pushing Cantus away. The Transcendence, one would generally say, is a little bit more of an impactful ultimate than the Primal Rage is when you look at them on paper next to each other. And so taking both of them out of the fight, that's favorable there for Kanga Esports. Peace has done a good job. And in the end, Kanga do come away with the fight won, but Mastermind still being able to contest this one. Obviously, Kanga's got the payload pushed forward a little bit, but the trickle now starting to come into effect. This is where Masterminds, they have the advantage because their spawns are a little bit better than Kanga's.
Well, there's the sound barrier. Now the Coalescence coming out from Kanga. They're going to try and stay on the payload and push it forward. Sound barrier coming out on defense for Masterminds as well. Taki is down. Taki will respawn, though, with that tac visor, and there won't be any support ultimates to try and defend it here. Maybe Roro with an EMP, maybe Pizza with the Primal Rage will push through, but they are getting kills, Jordan. They are managing to pick up heroes, and they push the payload forward, looking good. It's going to be coming down to Taki here, I think.
They need one more fight won here, Kanga Esports. They can't afford to be trading one for one. They need to be getting clean wipes. Roro with the EMP coming out now onto the point. Could definitely make the difference right now for Kanga Esports. There's a self-destruct in there somewhere. Hasn't managed to actually get too much done with that one, but Kanga Esports definitely getting the better of this fight. I'm not sure they're getting enough of a win, though, as we do see Masterminds trickling in there. Dalsu staying alive, doing some damage. They just need to get more picks right now, Kanga.
Yeah, they're going okay, but it's very difficult up against things like that Transcendence where you really cannot do anything other than wait. Locust. A great pulse bomb coming out from Locust. Another sound barrier coming out from Ziggy as well. This might be enough to get Kanga across the line, and they'll manage to complete it, Jordan, all the way through. They had a great first third of that as well.
Definitely.
That coming through, it was pretty much the first push, some people stayed alive. The rest of them managed to respawn, get back on the point, and push through, which to me, I feel like set them up for what was the rest of the round.
Definitely was a good attacking side out there from Kanga Esports, controlling the tempo quite well and taking the fights when they needed to. Masterminds, it never really felt like they could quite get a foothold into that map. They never really were able to stage an effective defense at any point of it. And so Kanga continue the payload on forward quite effectively. 53 seconds on the clock. It's not a lot, but it's definitely better than not closing out the map, which is generally what we see actually on Numbani. I can't remember the last time that we actually saw it completed.
Yeah, it's been a while, which is a little bit odd because I always thought that it was something that would quite often come back and get to see teams going for that first point again. But in recent times, at least in Contenders in Australia, that hasn't been the case, Jordan. So to see Kanga come and do that, to see them do that against Masterminds who haven't lost a map yet, is quite impressive. Now I want Kanga to be as impressive on defense.
That's what we're waiting to see. And nothing too much of a change-up really out from Kanga Esports when you look at their team composition. Roro is going to be staying on the Sombra, which he has been quite good at. Taki as well is going to be staying on the Soldier as well. So he's just basically been playing hit scan all day so far. The McCree, the Soldier. Haven't seen much else from him just yet. This is where you'd be thinking, okay, if Color Hex was in that roster for Masterminds, maybe we see the Pharaoh Mercy come out on attack. But Taki, from what we've seen so far this season, doesn't really pick up the Pharaoh.
I do like Soldier in general, though. I find that if you've got someone that's playing Soldier well,
it's just consistent.
So consistent on damage, right? And you just need, it's positioning. A lot of it is just finding the right position, staying back, staying alive long enough to do damage the whole fight long. And that's what you want to see from your Soldier. Oh, Taki onto Roro from behind. Roro gets the heck out of dodge. Right now they're going to try and battle it up on the high ground, but of course no Genji here to dive in with them. Just the Tracer and the tanks, Jordan. We'll see how this plays out.
Yeah, not playing quite as much of a dive composition here, Masterminds, given that they do have that Soldier. So they're just trying to work for picks right now, and it's not really working out in their favor. Obviously, Locust was able to overwhelm Yuki, which is a key part of that composition for Masterminds. If Yuki's around in the back, it gives a little bit more room, a little bit more openings for the tanks to dive in there of Masterminds if the defenders are distracted a little bit. But that was not the case here. So Masterminds, they just have to fall back a little bit. Kanga are doing a good job so far. And obviously there's quite a little bit of time still to work with here for them. Get another push out for Masterminds to come. We just have to wait and see what they can get done here. Still building up those ultis as well. That's a good dive, though.
Davey down straight away. That's not great. Roro might get caught out here, trying to come through behind. Uses the EMP. Taki's already found Pizza, though. That EMP's probably not going to be enough, Jordan, once you've lost your tank. Oh. Now they've lost their supports as well. Kanga falling apart here on defense. Roro their last hope, but really, you'll buy 5 seconds and then go down.
Exactly, indeed. And so that's a lot of the time why we're going to be seeing the Divas drop off the edge when they're in the Baby Diva form to get that mech back. And that's probably what Davey needed to do there. Yeah. He was an easy target for Masterminds. You saw how quickly they dove upon him. And unfortunately for Kanga Esports, that allowed everything to go the way of Masterminds. So he was up to 80% of the mech, and it just wasn't quite enough.
It's like, oh, if I just last long enough, but still, I don't know. Maybe you're trying to get around, get some damage right, and then drop back, but just not able to drop back in time because, well, all you can do is run as Baby Diva, mate. There's very little in there.
Problem was he was on the low ground there as well. There was nowhere really to go. Like, how are you going to get away from a Winston jumping on top of you as a Baby Diva? If he had the high ground, he might have been able to fall off and fall into his teammates or something like that, but was not the case. And Masterminds do continue the push on forward. Yuki, the pulse bomb does go awry, and he does also get taken down by Merit, but Masterminds certainly committing a lot to this fight.
Taki pushing through, going to get forced back there by that zoning self-destruct over the top. Did manage to find Ziggy, who was using Valkyrie at the time. Pizza trying to push through. Primal Rage popped as well. Still Diva with Davey trying to hold them back. Trant's going to come out. Keep Masterminds pushing forward, and they will get the better of Kanga here behind. This Transcendence will allow them now to dive on through. And Taki's already found 2 as well, Jordan. Douse who gets rid of Davey. And now Masterminds controls the payload, controls this second phase, and going to get very close to getting onto phase number 3.
Yeah, once again, just not enough pressure onto Taki, and he's able to free roam essentially on that Soldier. The only time he stopped really firing was when the self-destruct came on. He did avoid that one quite deftly. But now Masterminds, quite a quick time into that second point. When Kanga Esports were at this spot, they had 3 minutes to cap out the third cap. And for now, Masterminds have almost 5.
EMP from Roro on defense, going to do the best here to try and keep these guys alive. Actually done a fair bit of damage down. This might be enough to stall them out, but still 4.5 minutes. They didn't manage to stop them before the second point, so they really only have to get around this last third. Yeah,
definitely. Kanga Esports still have a lot to worry about. Masterminds, plenty of time to work with here. As long as they can close out this third map, or this third point, they're going to feel as though they've done pretty well.
What was that self-destruct? That was...
I'm not so sure.
I'm not sure
Davey
who
might
was
have
targeted
fat-fingered the Q button.
Maybe. That's what I do. But I wasn't sure if that was the case here.
I honestly did not see it. I remember hearing it.
Yeah.
Now that you mention it.
Well, battle from the high ground going to drop down. Taki once again with attack visor, but less successful now that Merazet with the Transcendence. We'll try and maybe find someone at the end. No, not going to happen. Cantus has gone down in the meantime. Once again, Mastermind's going to get forced back here by Kanga. Pizza pushing through, probably needs to drop back, doesn't want to get caught out. Kiki trying to get that Diva mech back and ready to go.
It was a great Transcendence out from Merit, and you can see Kanga Esports definitely getting a lot of value out of their ultis. Really only putting one ulti into every single fight won here, and even though their economy is quite weak, it is starting to build up a little bit. Masterminds have something to work with, but if Kanga continue to win fights with only one ult invested into, Masterminds are going to have some difficulty pushing through. They've already lost about 2 minutes, and they haven't really pushed far at all.
Yeah, they either need to kill everyone now or they need to hold their ults and stagger them out to get this round the corner. Davy's been demeched. Yuki pushes through. Might be able to find a support. Yes, Ziggy goes down. Candace as well. Now has the Transcendence. Not even sure at what point Candace will need to use this. They're getting very, very close. Players from behind, but they're running out of time. Davy, self-destruct finds no one because the Trans comes out in time. Only just getting on the point, Jordan, but they're going to stagger in, and this might not be enough.
No, I think it's going to be fine right now. Pisa still does have that Primal Rage. Locust able to get the pick onto Kiki with the Pulse Bomb. It should be enough to stabilize here for Kanga Esports. In fact, Pisa doesn't even invest that Primal Rage, which is a good decision. Kanga have held off, and he can still use that to stall Masterminds if things go really poorly for Kanga here.
So the payload is stalled just before the point. Masterminds, you've got Kiki with that self-destruct, Jordan. That might be enough to force them off unless there's some sort of defensive ult like Merit here with the Transcendence. But for now, it doesn't matter. Kanga getting a number of picks here on defense, going to slow them down once again. Masterminds are going to need to regroup, come back together, but the longer it takes them to get on the point, Jordan, the longer or the more time Kanga will have to build up ultis for defense.
Yeah. Kiki just deciding not to invest his ulti into that fight. Let's see if he decides to engage the fight here with the Diva ulti. It is not a bad spot for it, actually, that second corner coming around to the final point of Numbani. You do tend to see some big self-destructs there, but Roro has still got the EMP available. That might be a waste of it, though.
Yeah, whatever happened there, it didn't go down very well. Still, this tac visor not used now by Taki, holding back, doing damage, but Candace and Yuki have gone down in the meantime. This might not be enough. They might need to drop back. Kanga doing really very well here on defense, Jordan.
In the end, I think the EMP did still get quite a bit of value out there for Low, because it just didn't look so great because he got picked off by Yuki straight after the fact. In saying that, though, Masterminds, they don't put anything into that fight. Roro has won the fight with the EMP, but Masterminds now have a real opportunity to close this one out with a fairly similar time to Kanga Esports. They're coming into this one with an ultimate advantage, and it all hinges on Transcendence out from Merit now.
Running out of time. All we know right now is that Masterminds will not do this as quickly as Kanga did. As you said, that Trance coming out from Merit, Jordan, but this is not looking good. They've already used their ultis and Kanga are pushing through. They're finding the kills, they're finding the picks. They've got the momentum. Kanga going to need to stagger back onto the point, Jordan.
It's still contestable here for Kanga Esports. Ziggy's up to 95% of the sound barrier. If they can get on here and get some players there to secure some overtimes, maybe Kanga can still hold this one off. It really needs to be Ziggy, though, getting out there with the sound barrier.
27 seconds is all they've got. As you said, Ziggy with the sound barrier. This is the last hope in terms of ultis for now. Sound barrier onto sound barrier. Everyone's got shields. That's the power of music, Jordan. Let's see if it's enough here for Kanga to hold out. Joyboy now props the Primal Rage, but it's having a hard time getting over the top of the payload, pushing everyone off. 3.5 meters to go. EMP will slow it down. Kanga looking great. Can they win the map? Can they drop Masterminds on their first ever map loss here in Overwatch Contenders Australia?
Yes.
Overtime says yes, they do.
That's a great map coming out from Kanga Esports. An excellent hold as well there on the 3rd point. They had 5 minutes, Masterminds, and they couldn't quite push it through, just investing maybe one too many ultimates to get it round that 2nd bend, and they just didn't have enough right towards the end. Kanga Esports came up on some really, really critical ultimates as well. The sound barrier obviously was a big part of that as well, and in the end, Locust had an amazing game there on the Tracer. It's going to be evidence. It could have been one of many play of the games there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And so, Kanga Esports, they've got to be feeling good about that one. Masterminds, like you said, have been handed their first defeat here in Overwatch Contenders Season 1.
If there's one thing Kanga are good at, Jordan, it's clearly taking at least one map off the top teams.
Yeah, definitely. They've done it against Blank Blue. Now they've done it against Masterminds. It's one apiece, and we sort of said that now moving on to that second sort of type of match onto Hybrid, they were going to have a little bit of a better time than they did on Control. You kind of saw how one-sided it really was on Control, but when we got onto Hybrid, Kanga was definitely contesting that. They had a really good attacking side of their own.
Yep.
I think it's going to be the same here moving into, I suppose it's probably going to be Hanamura. Although, to be honest, if I'm Masterminds, now that I have the choice, I'm looking a little bit more towards Horizon Lunar Colony.
Yeah, well, they played 3-1-3 on Horizon. Obviously, they won all their maps during